It was sad to hear of the passing of John Romita Sr. He produced so many brilliant comics. Lots of those childhood comics that I just loved were all created by him. Unfortunately, I was looking around all through my collection and I haven't got vast amounts of books by him now, or comics, etc. But I will go through the ones I have, and I have been looking for all afternoon trying to find various ones. So this is the first one, the Romita Legacy. Now, there was also an All of That Jazz or something like that, All That Jazz, and that was from Tomorrow's. I did have that, yet another one of those books that I got rid of. But instead, I've got this. This is very good. This is an interview, though, all the way through. This is from Dynamite, or that time, weirdly, Dynamic Forces. Not Dynamite Comics, but Dynamic Forces. And it's brilliant cover there. Of course, you can see Kingpin, all the characters, just superb. And this book is still pretty good. Is it as good as the other one? Possibly not. But it does include a lot of his wonderful work all the way through it. Captain America, oh, typical. Just going through it, find yet another set of comics that, of course, he did. Captain America, issue 141, all that sort of bit. Spider-Man, did lots of these. Unfortunately, these have not been collected. There's one collection, I think, girl romance ones that I've seen, and that's quite expensive. But of course, this is the Spider-Man ones. They're super expensive to actually get. But of course, Epics, etc., a great source of all those books. And there's also the newspaper strips. That's apparently coming out in an artist edition fairly soon. So I'm really looking forward to that when that comes out. Also, Daredevil there. No, I haven't got any of those ones. I don't think I've even read any of those. Maybe one day I must get around to reading them. But lots and lots of great information. A really lovely interview all the way through this. Just so, there's Our Love Stories, Joe Howard's Chick, and The Amazing Spider-Man. See that? So it looks like a poster above, 1970s poster. See, glorious, and many, many more. Daredevil again, The Punisher, Warzone, and others. But let's go through the books that I have got here. Like I said, I couldn't find any comics. I thought I had Daredevil issue 12. I'm certain I have got Daredevil 12. Couldn't find it anywhere. But apparently that was the second issue that he did. So I'm just going to go to the Epic Collection. Of course, the Epic Collection, Volume 1. And I'm just going to go through and find it. Hopefully find it. And this, yeah, here it is. No, that's not that one. Typical, always the way. And this is issue 12. Now, I think I've got issue 13. Sightless in a Savage Land. I remember getting this, obviously in black and white, when we, obviously, UK comics. And I just love this. And it says down there, Jack Kirby, of course, and introducing John Romita. Now, of course, he'd actually worked for Atlas or / Marvel earlier. And I'm just going to show you some of those comics as well, if I can find them. They're somewhere around. But these were great stories. I really like. I'm always a Kazar fan, or Kazar. I always call him Kazar. Oh, that's the one I've got. The Secret of Kazar's Origin, or Kazar. There was, of course, they put how to pronounce his name in the first X-Men. But these were just great, great stories. I really, really love those. Always remember that character getting that priceless medallion, putting them together, of course. Comes sort of the world's greatest prize will be mine. Of course, he could have gone for the Cosmic Cube or the Infinity Gauntlet, but he got the medallion instead. The Plunderer. But they were great stories, really great. And then, of course, The Men Shall Call Him Ox, and that was great. That was obviously a classic tale of the Ox, the Enforcers. Now, the Ox, of course, well, I don't want to spoil the story. And then there was Spy, of course. Spidey's story there. And on to the next one. And None Are So Blind. That was issue 17. Let's see. Yeah, still Romita there. Of course, Gene Colan took over later, but these were just great issues. Oh, you can definitely see, as soon as you flick through this, you can tell the change in the artwork. But they were great. Great, great Gladiator story. Just really, really good. Right, on to the next one. Now, this one's black and white one, a UK comic. Now, I was looking for quite a few of the Fantastic Four, and I have got those ones, quite a lot of those issues. But could I find them again? Always the way, partly going through piles and piles of books. And when the one I did find, I thought, oh, great, it was a John Buscema one of that period. always the way. But there it is, John Romita presentation, The Monster's Secret. Now, not particularly a great issue, not one that I was particularly, I love the way they did this layout, this Titans. We had it, but it was great because it had the full story. It wasn't like before, we'd always had it split, so you would have half the story one week, then half or a third or something of the story, but then suddenly we had the full story, which was always great. But the story wasn't, I say, was not brilliant. There were some good stories in that period, but not vast amount of classics. Obviously, Jack Kirby, it was going to be hard. Following on from something like Jack Kirby, those brilliant 100-odd issues were just classics, and just the stories, they just didn't really properly match up to that level. But I still absolutely love them. Also, I love these black and white ones. They're just great anyway. I always love the posters. Oh, Kizar again. Good old. There. Now, it's going to fall down on top of me. Stay up there. Lorna, the Jungle Girl. You see, £15. Picked this one up in Gosh. I was so pleased to pick this up. And this does actually have a couple. I was looking through his biography, and I'm just going to quickly flick through. Yes, John Romita. So let's just see. 189. So page 189. Instead of trying randomly looking through, because there it is. Jungle Boy. We've got Jungle Boy, John Romita there. Now, it doesn't actually... it says JR just down there, just down the bottom. So it's, very unusual artwork. Of course, very different from later. But it was a great little stories. And I did enjoy... what's this one? Leopard Girl and others. Now, that one, Sid Shaw. Well, anyway, there's a few stories. Not many, but there's a few stories in this Marvel Masterworks. This was, I think, Volume 3. Volume 3, I'm quite certain of those. Young Love. Now, he worked for DC as well as Marvel. Young Love was one of them for DC. And you can see there the list, John Romita there, artists. So let's just go to that. So that's page 8. So instead of randomly trying to find an issue, I think you can sort of tell that it looks like, but I'm not very good when it comes to telling artists. So you probably turn around and say, no, that apparently, according to the credits, that is John Romita. I mean, it looks like that style, but it's still a bit different from the Spidey style. And page stuck together there. And there's obviously a little bit more of the John Romita story. And there are other stories in here that are John Romita as well. So it's a lovely little collection. You can see there, John Romita again mentioned there. But not all the stories are John Romita. John Romita there, The Private Diary of Mary Robin. So it's a really lovely collection there. Young Love DC Showcase. This is a brilliant collection. Of course, this is John Romita's Amazing Spider-Man Artisan Edition. Now, of course, there was an artist edition. I like artist editions, but there is part of me that really prefers this because you can see, you can just pick it up. It's great to read in bed, read anywhere, around the house. You get an artist edition, they weigh a ton, so it's never as easy. But this includes not vast amounts of stories, but it does include a nice run. But you've got there The Squasher Spider. Classic. Crisis on a Campus, Crush the Kingpin, Speedster and the Spider, of course Quicksilver, Death Without Warning, the Kingpin Strikes Back, and I think there's a few extra bonus ones as well. But To Squash a Spider, just looking at that beautiful artwork, just absolutely amazing. And that was one of my favourites, probably of all the Spideys. I loved the Mysterio one when he was at the carnival. I don't know why, it's that circus carnival sort of thing. Fairground, just really wonderful. Mirrors an entire series, of course it was all, but it was just brilliant. Just, if I can't break free, I'm done for, and that's the end of the series. That wouldn't have been very good, would it? But there you are, Mysterio again, completely hopeless. Of course, he's obviously got giant man powers. That's the secret, isn't it? Amazing Spider-Man. I love it. Actually, I'm not very keen on these things normally, but I actually quite like the way they've done that. That's issue 68. They've done. Weirdly, they didn't put the covers. You think they would have put the covers? Maybe they didn't have the covers, of course. That would be a thing. Or maybe at the back we'll see and say, Crisis on the Campus. And of course, they're trying to find this clay tablet. Now, that would have been an interesting story if the twist had been the Kingpin actually worked it out. But I don't think they would have done that. That would have been a very odd little story. But Final Reckoning, the Kingpin. I love that way he always crushes everyone. No one can stand against him. I mean, of course, Spidey could. He's got the strength of about 20, whatever it was. He should be easy. Yeah, I told you I wanted to work out. You didn't give me a chance. Get dressed and get out. I can't. I wouldn't last very long against him, I'm quite certain. But there's old Spidey, like I say again. The Kingpin, he realises it's Peter Parker, who obviously happens to be at the campus at that point, to crush the Kingpin. To ring-a-ding, Romita storyboards. Jim, he always did that. Always had those bits. 1969, wow. Didn't realise it was near the end of the 60s. And I love that bit where, of course, it's the... it's not what he thinks. Wait, what's that? Poor old Kingpin, he thought he'd finally got Spidey. And then you've got the Quicksilver story. I really love that one. Quicksilver was just great. The speedster and the spider. Jazzy, he's Jazzy there. Jazzy John Romita, innovator. Not the artist, but... And then you got there, obviously a scene there with Wanda. Just great, absolutely great little stories all the way through this. So this one's Death Without Warning. And you got Doc Connor's Mysterious Tablet. That story continued on for quite a while, but it was good. It was a real good story. It cannot be, it's impossible, etc. And of course you got the twist and story. That's what I'm saying. It would have been a weird one, wouldn't it, if with Kingpin. And on to the next one. What's this one? Oh, the Kingpin Strikes Back. This was issue 84, so we're getting a bit further on. John Romita. It's a pity they didn't include some of the earlier stories. Maybe they haven't got them. I don't know. Of course, if they haven't got the original artwork, then the Schema. Artist version of the Schema. It's good seeing a comic showing the artist version of it, the Schema. But it's a good twist as well there. Oh, talking about covers, they have got some of the covers. So you've got the covers at the back. There's obviously that one. Again, I would have been nicer to have included them in the story, just because you go through instead of having those additional pages. Why didn't they just include the covers? But still, there's number 67. Actually, that's very clean, that one, isn't that? That's lovely. Super clean cover there. And also the Quicksilver one and Death Without Warning as well. Of course, maybe they didn't include... Maybe one of the other ones was missing or something. Looks like one's missing. Maybe not. Don't know. Oh, the Electro one, of course, they didn't include that story. I really enjoyed that one. That was a weird Electro story. And you got a bio at the back of John Romita. Excellent. And on to the next one. Now, I got this one recently. I thought, oh, why not? I've never bought any of these. I think they were also available in hardback. I haven't got any of them. Didn't buy the Marvel Visionaries. I don't know why. They just sort of passed me by. I sort of saw them in the shops and just never picked any up. But it's got a nice selection of the stories. You should be able to pick this up reasonably cheaply. And you can see there all the stories included. And this does include some fairly interesting ones. They've got these ones as the Decades ones. Of course, there's the John Romita one there, the Marvel in the 50s. And there's the contents. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't have much of an introduction. It's got a little bit of an introduction there, but I love that. Look at that. That's one of the absolute classic one. I think that was a poster. Oh, it obviously got the horror story there, or menace story, or mystery story. And then you got Captain America. This was 1950s ones. They were very weird. Red Scott, they sort of did a refit of that storyline. I think they sort of worked out. But I don't know why they didn't just... I never agreed with the way they did it, having him in the ice block and all that sort of stuff. I always thought, why not just continue on with the stories? One, I suppose the trouble was Bucky. Bucky looks slightly different there, doesn't he, from Bucky? Well, saying that, I suppose so does Captain America. But they could have done that story. Instead, they had to show that he wasn't really. Sorry, that's a spoiler, that. But it was, and this Human Torch even turns up, and Submariner there as well. If only they'd formed a team, the all-winners squad at that point. Western Kid. So you've got a lovely Western one there. If only more of those were... Oh, Incredible Hulk. Yes, again, another one of the epics that I've completely forgot to include. I love that story, the Executioner one. That was just a brilliant one. Oh, Captain America story, of course, and the Daredevil ones. So Daredevil there, Spy, of course, the classic. How Green Was My Goblin. True classic, that one, of course, 39. And there's the old Goblin there. Again, a bit of a reveal there. Surely everyone knows by now. And the Rhino. Good old Rhino. Actually, I was watching I don't know if you've seen it yet, the Craven the Hunter. I was really surprised by that. is that real? Is that actually going to happen? Craven the Hunter. That was one of the films I was not really expecting. It's one of those ones you think to yourself, is that a fan one? Because it's just so odd. You think Craven the Hunter, really? But also the Rhino. I was thinking, I wonder if they're going to do Sinister Six. They could bring in the Vulture. Well, who knows? And, Fantastic Four there. Again, so some of these stories, the monster in the streets, again, not some of the best ones. I think I've got that one somewhere. 105. And on to, now is there any romance ones? Oh, there's just another Spidey one. High Priest one with Doctor Strange. And, slightly later one, The Amazing Parkers, the untold story of Spider-Man's parents. Actually, I'm really surprised they didn't include a romance one, because he did a few romance ones. Vampire Tales. He's got the Vampire Tales in here. I think that's a black and white one. Where is that? Can't see it. Anyway, so this is a real nice collection. Not certain. I think that some were in hardback. Maybe they didn't do them all in hardback. Maybe they were doing it like that. Paperback. Now, finally, to the Epic Collections. And there were some great stories. I grew up with these. I love it. Spider-Man Weekly. That was the thing. I'd just get these. And these were great stories. Of course, at the time, I hadn't read them. They were just new, fresh. Of course, once you've read them thousands of times, but they're still great stories. I still love them. And you can see how green was my goblin there. Conveniently, nicely that it started with the first Romita one, which is great, and also includes Not Brand Eck as well, of course. I think he did some Not Brand Eck as well. So, How Green Was My Goblin? Just classics. See, Spider-Man's identity still a mystery. Obviously not to some people. However, then on to The Horns of the Rhino, the new era, life-changing, and that was, of course, a classic. The end scene, of course, so you've got just amazing. Let's just quickly flick through to the end. Where's that one? Where is it? That's the next thing, isn't it? Just flicking through. There's always going to be one way looking for the birth of a superhero. That was a good story as well. I was thinking, where is it? I know it's here somewhere. Of course, always somehow thought it was the Rhino stories, but of course that was the next one. And of course, the famous scene, you've just hit the jackpot, the Rhino. So that was her first appearance. Of course, he spent lots of time sort of trying to avoid meeting up with her. And then you got here, Rhino on the Rampage. Great little story also. And also the annual, King Size Special. Or was it an annual? I never knew. They always had it, sometimes King Size Special, sometimes an annual. But this one, 72 pages with the Hulk story there and the Avengers. And also the Lizard, the next story as well. These were just great. Craven, of course, Craven the Hunter. I say it's so weird when you see that film. I was thinking, so different to see, especially, I don't know. I'm just not really sure about that one. Again, Craven again there. I was never a fan of Craven the Hunter. To Die a Hero, that was a classic, of course. I love that one. I love Jameson when he's trying, wait, no, not really. It's a mistake, and of course, it's fine, the help's fine. Forgets that completely, doesn't it, later? It's always the way. That was a weird story. That was a very weird story. Mysterio and the Wizard one. Now, that artwork looks different. That's not the same, is it? Or is it? Can't tell. That's very odd. Just looks different. When you look at some artwork, that just seems to be... Doesn't say. Just didn't look the same as the ones earlier. But still, this thing is just great because you've got, of course, all the extras at the back. And, of course, you've got the classic there, John Romita, as well as some more here. Got some lovely sketches here. Rhino on the Rampage. And I've got a few other ones as well, of course. Continued on for many a story. And these are great as well. Absolutely brilliant. Lots and lots of classic stories here. John Romita, as well as, I'm certain, many others that were included. I think, was it Gil Kane by this point? It was Gil Kane, of course, as well. Loved Gil Kane's work. Yeah, John Romita and Gil Kane. Just really brilliant stories. Love those ones. I've got the omnibus somewhere of those. Put that up there. And finally, this one, the middle period here, The Goblin Lives, Lee Romita. And you can see all the stories there. These are really worth checking out. In many ways, of course, I think they brought out the omnibus recently. Spider-Man Omnibus 2. I don't know if it's been re-released. Should be. But since I've got these, I just haven't bothered getting that one. I've got Volume 3, etc. But I just thought, I'm not going to get Volume 2. Because you can just buy them again. It just gets a bit crazy doing that. And then, of course, the classic Octopus story, Dr. Octopus story, where, of course, Spidey doesn't know. He's been sort of, obviously, thinks he's working with Dr. Octopus. And how can we be, what's his name, partners? And, of course, he sort of starts, enough! I was holding you, fool. Just testing. Oh, this one, called Kazar again. Kazar. To Kill a Spider-Man. Did quite a few of those stories. I really love those. And I love that. I love the way he goes there, and but he doesn't sort of, for the aura of Spider-Man, he's not easily forgot. Well, you just passed him. You could have sort of chat for a bit. Let's go for a drink down the pub or something. No, too easy. Oh, Bitter Victory. What a classic cover that one is. You can see that sort of swinging around. Poor old Spy. That's a pretty awkward position to be in. And the Medusa one, of course, absolutely crazy. In the Name of the Dame is Medusa. Oh, of course, you've got the black and white ones here. These are great. I love these ones. I really wish they'd done the black and white series of Spidey. I don't know why. Well, obviously for sales reasons, I'm quite certain, but there is classic, spectacular Spider-Man. I saw that at Comic Mart fairly recently, and it was about £5. Someone was just buying it in front of me. I thought, oh, if I'd just been a bit earlier, because that's a lovely issue. I just love those black and white ones. And lo, this monster. It was an odd story. Richard Riley, trying to combine names, Reed Richards. But they're just great, absolutely great stories, black and white. It's always nice to actually sit in that side, completely different from sort of the usual. Oh, and also you can get the origin as well, which is really quite nice, sit in black and white instead of obviously the usual version. And when you do see a colour version of it, obviously it often just looks like the first one. But this, when you see it suddenly in black and white, it sort of gives it a sort of completely fresh sort of look, which is really nice. And then the Vulture. And, oh, there's my favourite story, the good old Mysterio one again. Just classic, absolute classic. And the Green Goblin to finish it off, and some extras at the back. So that is a run-through of some of my John Romita Sr. books. I wish I could find more. Unfortunately, for some weird reason, I just couldn't find many more. But he's produced so many great. And I am certain many people have got many favourite comics. So please put in the comments your favourite comics. Which ones do you really, really remember? Did you love these ones? Did you love the Spidey ones? Were the Spidey ones your favourite stories? Maybe the Daredevil stories he did later. The Hulk ones. Maybe even the ones that are in Lorna, the Jungle Girl. Maybe, perhaps not. But he just did lots and lots of great work throughout his career. And wow, just absolutely stunning work. So please put in the comments anything you've got obviously your memory. Did you meet him? Did you ever meet him? Because obviously, never particularly, I don't know if he ever came to the UK. So there was obviously very little chance for me to ever meet him. But it's still, quite often I see comments, people say, oh, I met Will Eisner, or I met this person, which is absolutely brilliant to hear. Absolutely lovely to hear. You think, oh, would have been great to meet Jack Kirby, all the sort of greats. But anyway, hope you found this of interest. And, well, like I say, still, it's very sad news. It's always sad news. And that's the one thing I hate about reading omnibus collections. Quite often they have the biographies at the back. And you think, oh, and often you see online, you see someone else, you think, oh, no, one of your favourites from your childhood has died. And you think, ah. Oh, same like films and music and everything like that, isn't it? Tina Turner. Anyway, bye.